Call Shane Ritty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. E roranga tira mā tēnā koutou. E nā iwi katoa, no mai haere mai, no reire ki ora mai tātou. Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to speak to this, the first reading of the Ngatikahu Whangaroa Claims Settlement Bill. I want to start by commending Minister Finlayson, the Office of Treaty Settlements, and nā iwi katoa for getting this bill here today to its first reading. I've had the pleasure many times to enjoy the natural bounty that this settlement recognises, primarily in the Whangaroa and Manganui harbours. And to that end, I want to remind us of the area of geographical interest within which the overall settlement is located, the Rohe area, and many of these places, of course, are included in the settlement itself. If we start at Taimaro, an important starting place when one looks at the attention Taimaro gets in the settlement itself, if you move up the coast to Te Whata, round the corner to Hihi, and then down into Manganui Harbour, then the boundary actually heads through Oraitai stream, the head of the stream there, and passes inland, bordering Ngatikahu and Ngāpuhi, making its way past Maunga Taratara or Tangaroa, and then it reaches back into Whangaroa Harbour at the Waihapa Bay, makes its way up past Tortra North, Taupo Bay, and back to Taimaro. Now, within the overall settlement, within this area, the Minister has commented that the return of the Stony Creek Station, 2,275 hectares, is a key part of this settlement. And we know that this has been challenging, but it is important, and it comes now to a resolution. I want to observe, Mr. Speaker, that if one stands today on the ground of Stony Creek Station, it could be considered that one is metaphorically standing on an island of negotiation, collaboration and leadership that is returning the land to iwi through the process of settlement. Now, I use the metaphor somewhat as a segue to my colleague Peter Parani, who also raised this issue. I use the metaphor of an island because all around the Rohe, iwi land remains in limbo, and it's our hope that others will observe the realness of Crown intent and the tangible benefits that will accrue to Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa, and that they also will come to the table with pure intent. And I commend the leadership of Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa for getting us again here today. Now, in detailed documents like this, Mr. Speaker, I have particular interest in the final statements, the closing statements in some of the major sections, for the overall substance that they might convey to me and the guidance they might give me. The closing section, or the closing statement in acknowledgements, reads as thus: the Crown acknowledges that the cumulative effect of its acts and omissions, including Crown purchases, public work takings, and the operation and impact of the native land laws, left Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa virtually landless. The Crown's failure to ensure that Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa retain sufficient land for their present and future needs was a breach of the Tiriti of Te Waitangi and its principles. I think also the closing statement under apology is also important. The Crown seeks to atone for past injustices it inflicted upon you. Through this, the settlement, the Crown hopes to restore its honour and relieve Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa's justified sense of grievance. The Crown looks forward to forging a new and enduring relationship with Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa based on good faith, mutual respect, partnership and the principles of Tiriti o Waitangi. Mr. Speaker, I've talked about the realness of Crown intent, and I think in these statements that realness is laid bare. At this then, the first reading, I want to conclude as I basically started by commending the Minister, the Office of Treaty Settlements and ngā iwi katoa for getting the settlement to its first reading, and I look forward to its progress through this House. Thank you.
Good. Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it.
Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa Claims Settlement Bill, first reading.
The question is that the Ngatikahu ki Whangaroa Claims Settlement Bill be considered by the Māori Affairs Committee. Those of that opinion will say aye, and to the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Permission has been granted for Te Waiata.